I'd like to see them just aim for the top of off now. As a bowler, you've got to make them play on your terms. Gone, great catch. Beautiful take, caught and bowled.
The trudge back to the pavilion. A disappointing display in the end. For someone with such batting skills, this goes down as a fail.
With the fall of that wicket, the new batter comes charging out to the crease. They're quick to take guard and face up. Finds the middle, but won't find the boundary. Really playing all their shots that over. Very expensive. Russell into the attack now from the Harbhajan Singh end. The batter's made a bit of a meal of that delivery. Winds up but misses. Looks like they went a bit too early on that shot. Huge shot. That's a massive shot. Just incredible.
Well, that's a waste of a delivery. Absolutely no trouble getting onto it and dispatching it for six.
The right-arm pace bowler is coming into the attack from the Yuvraj Singh end. Oh, that's a biggie. Oh, that is huge. All the way for a maximum. And it's gone many rows deep.
Well, that's what you pay your entrance money for. It's flown into the crowd. A brilliant shot off the front foot. No need to move. How will the bowler respond?
Head goes large again. 2 maximums in a row. We're in for a treat here, I reckon.
That's a brilliantly timed shot off the back foot. It just flew to the boundary for six.
Super batting at the moment. Back-to-back boundaries, putting the pressure right on the bowler. They've got to respond. Gone, knocked them over. Just too much pace there.
The trudge back to the pavilion. A disappointing display in the end for someone with such batting skills. This one goes down as a fail.
Coming to the wicket, they'll be looking to play within the V early and expand as they get settled. Not too sure what they're appealing for here. That's gone. Nice, simple catch. Oh, great work. Held their nerve while the ball was in the air, and they've taken a good catch.
As they head back to the pavilion, they'll be wishing they went about this innings a little differently. Not too much to speak of on the scoreboard.
The field will come up now, you'd think. Pressure should be on as the new batter strides to the middle. They'll be looking for another quick wicket. Really good innings comes to an end. That's going to be a tough total to chase. Someone's going to need to step up with a big score. This is a very defendable total. The openers will need to get their eye in very quickly and get the scoreboard ticking over if they have any chance.
Field moving around a bit here, trying to stop the batters getting singles. Here we go, coming in for the first ball.
Over the infield with a cracking shot.
You can't hit the ball much better than that. Timed it to perfection.
That last ball isn't something you want to repeat of. You don't want to be giving away easy runs.
The captain making some adjustments to the field here.
Oh, that's a great shot early on, wide of cover, and that'll give him a bit of confidence early on. May pull up short of the boundary though. Can't hit it any more sweetly than that.
Threaded it through brilliantly. All timing on that shot.
Don't need to do anything special. Line and length is the key here.
How will he reply?
Plunkett pulls out. Dead ball.
The captain trying to stop the rotation of strike with these field changes. Can he come back with a dot ball?
Beats the field with a great shot.
Well, that one's for the textbook. Stands tall, on top of the bounce, and a lovely flick of the wrist at the end.
I didn't feel there was too much wrong with that last delivery. They just need to keep the ball in the right areas, and the rewards will come. Shot, land back and punch through the gap in the offside, and that'll be 4.
Well, you can't fault that shot. Nicely played, and it was 4 runs all the way.
Gale, I don't think, will be too happy with their bowler at the moment. Beats the outside edge. Good bowling there. End of a high-scoring over. Beautiful batting. After hitting the boundary that many times, there's high confidence out in the middle. The right-arm medium bowler is coming on to bowl from the Yuvraj Singh end. Oh, that's cut off nicely. 4 runs saved. Ticking the scoreboard over really nicely at the moment. Magical shot into the vacant fine leg position, and I do not think anyone's going to stop that.
Clipped way off the pads. What a shot for 4.
This delivery just needs to be pitched up on a length. Too short, and you're going to get punished on this pitch.
The fielder's come up to stop the quick singles. Might look to go big again here.
Great shot, rode the ball up with him and cuts through point.
Got it away for 4, backward of point very nicely.
Getting nicely settled at the crease now. Would have to be very happy with that last shot. Straight drive, mid-off will cut that one off. Collects that one, simple as you like inside the ring. Massive outside edge. Everyone's gone up. Got to follow up that last delivery. Found the edge, but no reward, but putting pressure on the batter. Punched off the back foot and beats the infield. More runs on offer here.
That showed great skill. Lovely timing. The boundary was the only place that ball was heading.
Smashed all over the park. I wonder if the captain will stick with them. The right armour is coming on to bowl from the Harbhajan Singh end. Oh, too good. That is huge.
A brilliantly timed shot off the back foot. It just flew to the boundary for 6.
The last one helped the scoring rate, making their intentions for this innings. What a shot. Lovely on drive, and there's little chance of anyone catching that.
No point running for that one. That was 4 off the bat. Beautiful shot off the front foot.
Good contest here at the moment. 4 off the last ball. It'll be interesting to see how the bowler can respond. Nicely played. Runs 1. That's a boundary save for sure. Oh, my word. Fast reflexes and grabs it. Stunning catch. Oh, wow. Brilliant reactions, and what a catch.
The trudge back to the pavilion. A good start, but that's all they've managed. They did the hard work and threw it away in the end.
A difficult period as they come to the wicket. They'll take plenty of time to settle themselves in before facing their first ball. Shot, textbook pull shot, and that's racing away to the boundary. Brilliant.
That was a beautiful shot. Rocks onto the back foot and punches the ball away. Fielders had no chance.
Gale shouldn't be too worried about that last ball. They've got them playing their shots. Just need to tighten their areas now. Oh, that's a great shot early on, wide of cover, and that'll give him a bit of confidence early on. May pull up short of the boundary though.
That's an outstanding shot. Saw it early, not much width to play with, and driven through the covers for 4.
Well, that was a struggle, getting smacked all over the park. Bumrah coming on, obviously hoping the pace will cause some trouble. Perfectly timed.
You can't fault the bowling. Sometimes your opponent is just too good. Wonderful front foot shot, and there was no point chasing that. That was one of the easiest wins at this level of cricket you are likely to witness. A class above.
Well, that was a very one-sided contest. The result was never really in doubt at all. Hope you enjoyed the coverage. See you again soon.